Ulster's bench turns the tide against the Dragons. When it's Mark, let's talk rugby. Dragons score pretty much from the first attack of the game. In this one, there's a nice flat pass. Wainwright, strong carry, gets them into the 22. They spread it, nice pullback pass, and that sends Owen over to score, converted for 7 points to 0. Ulster then forced Dragons to ground the ball over their own line. 5 metre attacking scrum, good position for them, except the referees made a mistake. It wasn't grounded, so it's a Dragons scrum and they can clear. Ulster continue to apply pressure as Dragons look to exit. Hume, he gets over the ball, wins a penalty. Ulster goes to the corner to drive them off from the line out. Break off, stop just short. Then Hume grounds under the post. Strong carry from him for that to finish it. Converted for 7 points all. Matthew Dalton then concede a penalty and Dragons kick it up the line. They go through the phases into 22, forcing a pen. We then have a TMO check for an upright tackle by Herring on Screech. He's definitely upright. It's head on head. It's judged to be a yellow because referee said there was a low degree of danger. But for me, he was very lucky that wasn't a red. Pen goes over, 10 points to 7. Ulster then win a penalty. Murphy kicks to the corner. Dragons almost keep it in play, but Nick Timney then, he's taking the line out because Herring's in the bin, but overthrows it and Dragons are able to clear. Maybe a little bit of justice done there for that one because Dragons were so close to keeping that one in. Then tip tackle from Ulster and Dragons go to the corner. Their attack really stretching Ulster's defence at this stage. The maul goes forward. Elliot D breaks off. He's stopped short. Recycle quickly. Roddy Williams with a nice flat pass and Hugh Anderson goes over under the post. That's converted for 17 points to 7. Dragons then applying more pressure, but Dave McCann looks to get over the ball and not comes off his feet to seal it. Ulster can relieve some of that pressure. Ulster now, they're back with the 15 and straight away Dragons get a man sent to the bin. Wiswood kills a break with cynical play and yeah, he's off for 10 minutes. Ulster kicks to the corner. The maul moves forward. Herring off the back and he's over to score. Really good finish from him. Converted for 17 points to 14. Dalton then lifting a leg and a maul gives away yet another penalty. That guy, like the number of penalties he gave away is crazy. Ulster then they look to run it out from their own 22. Stuart Moore, he's stripped by Owen, who counters. Dragons then shift it inside from the left wing. Anderson draws the cover, puts Rodri Williams over to score, converted for 24 points to 14, and that was a halftime score. In the second half then, Ulster attack off a line out into 22. Maul gets to within 5 metres. They move it. McCluskey goes close in the corner. O'Toole then stopped just on the line. McCluskey then goes for the corner, but he actually loses the ball forward, back for the penalty. They tap it. Few phases later, then Herring grounds on the line under the post. That's converted for 24 points to 21. Reid then slots a penalty for the Dragons to make it 27 points to 21. They then win a scrum penalty on halfway. Reid calls for the tee yet again. This one though is left and wide. Also then they work it close in, force a penalty for offside, tap it, forwards battering away at the line. Dragons concede another penalty. They get a yellow card warning. Ulster then, they're halted just short in the shadow of the post as they go again, but Dragons do so well to get over the ball to win a penalty and they're able to clear, and I felt at that stage that could be a crucial turnover. Ulster then concede a penalty. Hume falls on the wrong side. Reid makes it 30 points to 21, and it feels like Dragons are just kind of stretching away. At that stage, Ulster then they win a penalty after the restart. Cooney looking to cut the deficit back to one score. He lands that for 30 points to 24. Then, lots of penalties going on to this stage. Another penalty for Reid, and this one, possibly he could seal it for Dragons. Not too long left. He's going to put them out to 2 scores. It's pretty straight, but his kick comes off the inside of the upright and bounces back out. Ulster are able to clear. Then Ulster coming forward, nice kick through. Anderson scoops it up and runs it out of, trying to get out to 22, but Wilson turns the ball over, spins away from the ruck and trots over to score. That's converted by Cooney, 31 points to 30. Ulster lead, and that's their bonus point try as well. Dragons then come forward, looking good again in attack. Some good carries by the likes of Wainwright, but then Timney turns the ball over and Ulster kick that ball clear, and it's up in the air. They force the knock on as well. Dragons then concede a penalty for no wrap. Ulster kicked that to the corner, and you felt if they went for the post, it was very kickable, but Ulster at this stage now all about running down that clock and not giving Dragons a restart and a chance to potentially score, try to win the game. They've got the ball in the Dragons 22, looking, as I said, to run down that clock for the last few minutes. They win a penalty right in the shadow of the post. Andrew taps it. Cooney then snipes after they're stopped at a ruck. He's stopped, but then Andrew gets over to score, but then we have a Timo check for possible obstruction. We see McCluskey has definitely obstructed someone, from making a tackle to make that space for Andrew to go over. So the try rightly chalked off, but we come back for an Ulster penalty because we were playing advantage for offside. Cooney then, very smart, runs down the last 40 odd seconds of the game. Once the clock is in red, he slots the penalty. 34 points to 30, full time, Ulster win. Okay, so let me pull up the stats and have a look at those, and then we're going to have a quick chat about each of the teams. But yeah, this was a pretty entertaining game, honestly, overall. I was kind of, wondering which game I was going to watch between, this game or Ospreys and Connacht. And it looks like, I'm not going to spoil the score for you in the other game, but that game looked like a cracker to watch as well. But this one, pretty good. So let's go with attack first. Try scored, 3 tries for Dragons, 4 for Ulster. Possession, 39% for Dragons, 61 for Ulster. So Dragons doing very well with, not too much of the ball. Clean breaks then, 7 for Dragons and 3 for Ulster. Defenders beaten 12 to 16. So Dragons definitely the better of the 2 teams of converting, those defenders beaten into actual clean breaks. Offloads, 2 for Dragons, 4 for Ulster. Then we look at defence. Territory, 38% for Dragons and 63 for Ulster. That's a bit weird because that adds up to 101. So I guess it's 37.5 to 63 or 62.5, I guess is what the actual numbers are. But yeah, Ulster, playing a lot of the game in the right area of the field, but Dragons, especially in that first half and just after halftime as well, up to about 20 minutes to go, so good at getting in position and getting their scores, but then not enough threat really in the last 20 minutes from them. Number of tackles then, 125 for Dragons, 70 for Ulster. Missed tackles, 16 to 12. Tackle success, 84 for Dragons, just on the cusp of kind of passable. Ulster, 80%, certainly need to be better there, for future games. Turnovers 1 then, 8 for Dragons, 2 for Ulster. Felt like some of the turnovers the Dragons got really were going to be crucial if they were going to win the game. But again, in that last 20 minutes, not producing enough of them. And also, turnovers are great, but you've then got to get up the other end of the field as well, and they weren't able to do that. Kicking then, kicks retained, 2 for Dragons and 1 for Ulster. Kicking overall, kind of mixed from both teams, honestly. Penalties conceded then, 15 for Dragons, 13 for Ulster. So neither team, keeping the kind of their bib clean, as it were, in this one. Plenty of penalties conceded by both. Both at times definitely could have got another yellow card for persistent yellow cards as well, or not penalties, sorry, close to the line as well. Ulster probably should have been warned the first half. Dragons were warned in the second half, but then, they come up with the big play to make sure that they cleared it. Then looking at individuals, so top point scorer, Will Reid, 15 for Dragons, and Rob Herring with his 2 tries, 10 for Ulster. And then tries, Hugh Anderson, 1 for Dragons, and Herring 2 for Ulster. Successful carries then, Elliot D with 5 for Dragons. So he was pretty good, especially coming off the back of the maul. Rob Herring, another guy, great coming back, off the back of that maul as well, and some decent carries and open play too. 7 from him. Clean breaks then, Hugh Anderson with 3. That guy, he looks, a decent prospect there for Dragons and maybe for Wales in time to come as well. Then 1 clean break, Nick Timney for Ulster, always a willing carrier for them. The Fridays beaten, Hugh Anderson with 5, Dave McCann with 3 for Ulster. Meters made then, Hugh Anderson again, 54 for Dragons, and Stuart Moore with 48 for Ulster. But some of those meters they made was when he was running, and then Owen just come in and just struck the ball off and ran the other way, end up in a try for them. Offloads then, 1 for Will Reid and 2 for Dave McCann. On to defence then, Harry Keddy with 14 tackles, and O'Connor with 7. O'Connor, kind of a quiet game for him, but you can see he put in his shift defensively. And Keddy, 14 tackles is pretty good in this game. Turner's 1 then. Aaron Owen, good in attack, good in defence as well, getting over there and turning the ball over twice. The guy, he's he'd remind you similar to kind of Brian O'Driscoll type, where he has that kind of low body position, able to kind of spread his legs, and keep himself kind of balanced, and then get over there quickly to compete for the ball. James Hume then with 1 for Ulster. Okay, so let's talk about the 2 teams. Dragons, they are still rock bottom of the league, but this was a much improved performance from them, and you can see that they're beginning to kind of find something as well. It takes a while though, the performances start coming and you kind of get close. We saw it with the Scars last year as well, where they had a lot of games where they were coming close, but they weren't able to actually get the win. And Cardiff too last year. Cardiff lost a heap of games by 1 score or less last year, and then the next year then they were able to kind of build on that and kind of kick on it a bit this year as well. So hopefully for Dragons, that's kind of a sign that they're showing now towards the end of this season that they're putting kind of some of the groundwork there for improvement next year. We gotta hope that for them, because we've seen now Zebre improving so much. We need Dragons as well to come on. One thing that went really well, a couple of things went really well for Dragons. I got to give them credit. First of all, scrum. The scrum was dominant for most of the game for them. And then in attack, their shape and attack looked so much better. I've seen the Dragons now a good few times this season. This game definitely the best I've seen them with ball in hand in attack. They were stretching that Ulster defence a lot, and you just feel like, if they could, just sustain that for a bit longer in games, and get themselves a decent lead, then they're definitely going to get themselves another win this season. So positive signs for them, even in defeat, and we got that losing bonus point as well for them. Ulster then, looked a bit kind of out of it, honestly, in the first half, even though they did score 14 points, 2 tries in the first half, but definitely looked the second best team on the pitch. But then second half completely turned it around, and big contributions from the bench as well. Andrew and Wilson, I thought, were excellent coming off the bench, and Cooney too, so some really kind of experienced players coming on there, and giving impetus there as well, with some really good carries, some good decisions as well, and some big moments for their team. And Ulster, they needed this win as well to kind of they're kind of on that cusp now of almost being shed from the from the chase for the top 8. If they'd lost this, then that's kind of where they would have been. But the win now puts them right up there with Benetton, right kind of on the edge of those playoff places. So they're definitely back in the hunt now. But just this one win isn't going to be enough for them. They've got 5 games left to go, and you'd imagine they probably need to win 3 of those. So they're really going to have to again up their performance, to guarantee that they're going to be in those playoffs come the end of the season and in the Champions Cup next year as well. Obviously I want all the Irish provinces to do well, but then you think with Ulster, would they kind of benefit with a season maybe in the Challenge Cup, and not be kind of getting absolutely destroyed in Champions Cup in the middle of their season and destroying their confidence as well? Or, are they going to improve enough next year that they're actually going to maybe cause an upset or two on that? So, but it's a long way to go for them. This is a good win for them, but again, it's not going to matter anything if they now go on and lose their next couple of games as well. So definitely got to back this up with more wins, and then see where they come out at the end of the season. Okay, so that's it for me. Let me know what you think down in the comments.